We're gonna pick it up terrible. That's really bad.
We're live.
Right.
They're definitely going to hear the banging. Can you hear the banging? We're at a shop. We're at Lou's shop. We got Lou Sauzedde today on our live stream, everybody. We got people joining right now. So we'll just give it a minute. But we're here with Lou at his open door boat shop.
Yeah.
In Bristol, Rhode Island.
Yeah. This is my open door boat shop.
It's
a shop that I've always, I use that name for my shop my whole life long. But not everybody always knew it, but I've always used that name because I thought it was nice and friendly.
It is friendly. The door is always open.
It's always open.
Right?
So you guys can come and visit or,
oh, careful.
be involved.
You're talking the whole interweb right now. Every interweb is going to come visit you right now.
Oh, okay, good.
Let's hope so. All right, we got people joining?
Yep.
Excellent. All right, excellent. Okay, we have banging, but we're going to work through it because we thought it was a beautiful place to start here with Lou. And thanks for doing this with us today on a sunny, finally, Friday in Rhode Island.
Well, I'm glad to do it. I always love doing stuff like this. It's nice to, that's part of my business is trying to get everybody to know me. So,
Not only do people want to know you, they want to know that you're alive, Lou. Where have you been? Everybody's been so worried, but he's alive. He's all right. Look at him. He's like in the flesh. We got him.
Even your family, like you guys are. You guys are my family. That's the way I figure it. Not even your family knows everything about you all the time. So,
Life
I don't
happens.
think that's the biggest concern. We're going along and we're just continuing doing what we do. So,
and you're here, and that's what's the best part. So we're going to talk to you about some of the stuff that Lou's been working on in the open door boat shop in the time when you've been wondering where he is, and talk about what you're looking forward to and some of the projects we've done together and some of the cool stuff that's happening inside the shop. So
yeah.
Should we go in?
Absolutely.
Have a look?
Sure.
Come on in.
Around.
Okay.
I guess
this is a good place to start.
So
right?
Just like start up again or continue?
It's just on.
It's just on.
It's on the whole time.
There we are. We're on all the time.
On the whole time.
Great? Hey, the first thing I guess to take a quick peek at is this boat right here. This is the 23-foot V-bottom skiff that I built quite some time ago. And it's just, it's bought and paid for, but he just leaves it with me. It's going to end up in Minnesota someday, but we don't know when. But I finally decided that we would do a couple more coats of paint on it and a couple more coats of varnish,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been out in the weather quite extensively, really, but, that paint held up really, really well.
Looks really good.
I just think it's something that, if we sand it and paint it, it just comes out better and better and better.
Here, come on over here and let's talk about it.
Sure.
Because first Lou built the flat bottom skiff.
Yeah.
And that was the skiff that had a great shot of Lou at the end standing up driving the boat. And I feel like that was like...
That was one that we built in Wickford, Rhode Island.
Right? You built that in Wickford?
And then I built another one here, another flat bottom one here.
Yep.
And then I got involved with this one right here.
Okay, and then this is a V-bottom skiff. So the first one was like a work skiff, which is a very typical Rhode Island kind of a boat.
Very typical, right.
Right? And we're talking, we got our interwebs over there.
Sorry,
No, don't worry. And so then you did this V-bottom skiff, and that's one that's maybe a little better suited to the bay in this area because of that deep underside here.
Sure.
Cuts through the waves a little better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then you had somebody buy this?
Oh yeah, it's been bought. It was bought before we ever finished it, Yeah.
That's great.
Bought right away, actually, Yeah.
Right.
But the whole idea of this boat was really to have it be kind of like a skiff in a lot of ways, When you step aboard it, it's very much like a skiff. It's got a cross plank bottom. It's like being in an old work skiff, really.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have the shape or the handling characteristics of an old flat bottom.
You want to bring it over here and we'll show a little bit of the inside. I'll take
neat.
the camera. Thank you. Hello. Okay, come over with Lou and I. All right, so we got a bunch of TotalBoat on this boat too, right? You did this whole thing, and all these videos are online.
Yeah, all the
so you can
paint,
see
paint and varnish,
all the progress, the whole
and,
process.
like I said, it's been out in the weather extensively, and yet the varnish and the paint really held up really, really nicely. And one thing I do have to say about the paint is I'm very glad that it sands as well as it does. People have told me maybe it doesn't sand really well. I said, well, we don't know that until I try it. So I just tried sanding it, and it sands so really nicely. It's unbelievable. Yeah. And so every time you sand it and paint it, you thin down the paint job that's on it already, so you don't just get this massive buildup, but it gets smoother and smoother and smoother, and it fills. So I think that these next 2 coats of paint that we put on it are going to be even much nicer than this.
And this is our the wet edge paint, right?
This is wet edge.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, go back and check out this V-bottom skiff video. It's on the Tips from a Shipwright page. And there's a whole series about how Lou built it and all the products that he used and all the way through to launching it. And it's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So,
so
that's good.
Yeah.
Very
and my
cool.
friend Kenneth, who's a very interesting guy, is going to come up, and we're going to spend some time on this sanding it and varnishing it. And
he's like the finish
and
master,
talking,
right?
and maybe talking about some stories and stuff. I do have a skiff story that happened in Jamestown years ago that I'd love to tell, and I think that'd be the time to do it while we're varnishing.
Oh, he's dropping some little Easter eggs for you to come back and find that video when that happens.
I don't think there's anything that I like better than telling stories, really, to tell you the truth.
That's his next channel. It's going to be Sea Stories with Lou.
All right.
Maybe. How about that? All right. Well, that's cool. So what else do you want to show us around here?
Then I got this timber laying right here right now. This is going to make a couple of small timbers for Orca, actually. What I'm actually doing is making a new stern post for it, because the last one I made, when I was done with it, I didn't like it. This stuff is all alive. This stuff is green, and now this is quite seasoned, actually. It's been around long enough.
What kind of wood?
It's white oak.
White oak.
Yep, it's Quercus alba.
Hear that, Sean? White oak.
And, so I'm going to replace the stern post on Orca out of this material right here. And I'm also cutting a stem out of it up the other end for my L. Francis Herreshoff 34-foot auxiliary catch that I have at home.
Oh, that's a cool
which
one.
Is, I'm sure that you guys would be interested in that. It's kind of a gold mine of product video, really.
Excellent.
So, that's just something maybe to look forward to.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. I do love, as much as I love telling stories, I like doing commercials, and things like that. So, it's kind of fun. So.
Commercials coming soon. TotalBoat commercials with Lou.
That's right.
Excellent. That's right. Cool. Well, all right. This is a part of it. And you said the magic word there, which is white oak and Orca and all the fun things. So,
I guess
checking it out. It's very cool. So you have an L. Francis Herreshoff.
I have an L. Francis Herreshoff 34-foot auxiliary catch.
That's cool. Which
is a pretty interesting boat, because, I've never really sailed on an auxiliary catch, but I didn't even really realize it until just recently, but their purpose to be able to motor and sail at the same time and get the best out of both.
Oh, really?
So you can pretty much go by any other sailboat on the bay under sail, because you're under power at the same time. So.
And what year was that boat built, do you think?
I think it was built in the 60s.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And in Bristol, really? Right down the road here?
I believe so.
I think so, right?
I believe so, but I'm not even positive about that. I have to look up the paperwork again. I haven't looked at that.
Weren't all the Herreshoffs built down the road here?
Oh, it wasn't built at the Herreshoff.
Oh,
it was privately built.
Okay.
But the guy who did it did a really, really nice job of it.
Okay.
And it does need work.
And a Herreshoff design.
Right. L. Francis.
L. Francis.
That's right.
The younger of the Herreshoffs.
That's right.
Okay.
And,
go look up the Herreshoff manufacturing company if you've not yet, because it's very cool. They're America's sort of turn of the century America's Cup boat yacht designers.
Probably
steam engine. They helped develop the steam engine too. Lots of cool stuff there.
What a history they have.
Lots of history there. Beautiful boats.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Herreshoff Museum or somebody interested in Herreshoffs would be interested in investing in that boat a little bit. I mean, that boat there is
opportunity.
It's an opportunity that I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Sell it, sail it,
both.
Work on it,
maybe.
All these different things.
All the things.
So everything's
we'll
available.
help you. We want to help you.
Well, that sounds great. That sounds good.
Good. All right. Any good questions on there for us? We had some sent in, but we'll save those till the end. All right, we'll keep cruising around while you check it out. Let's come back here. One thing that I think a lot of our, we have a lot of people that are woodworkers on our channel, and I feel like they all use band saws, right? Is this sort of what this is back here? Want to explain what this big saw is here? Because this is unique to boat building, isn't it?
This is not a bandsaw. This is the bandsaw right here. This is the best bandsaw I've ever had my hands on right here, and I've had quite a few of them.
Yeah.
I actually just sold 42-inch.
Turn this way a little for you.
It's an L Power
Yep.
ship saw.
Okay.
But this is a ship saw right
Yep.
here as well, but it's a little different. Let me move these right out of the
Okay.
way here real quickly.
This is for all the
This ship saw right here is kind of a
aficionados.
specialty one because most ship saws, when you angle it, like you see, I'm going to crank it over to an angle right now with this crank. See it change in angle? Well, most ship saws, when you crank it over like that, there's a slot in the table so that the blade travels over in the slot and the table stays still. Well, that's kind of nice, but you know, this one here does something different that most of them don't do. You can do what they call progressive bevel ripping on this, because no matter what angle the saw is on, the blade is the same exact distance from a fence. If you put a fence on here, you know, any kind of fence, I use a piece of aluminum like this, a box for a fence, you know, and rip alongside that.
Okay.
But the blade stays at the table level, the same distance from the fence. So you can rip,
right,
you know, and maintain a distance from a fence without following a line. You know, so that's something a little different than most of them do. This is a crescent, and you know, I think it's worth its weight in gold. You know, I can do massive amounts of ripping on it. It's got tons of horsepower on it. It's got 7.5 horsepower on it, 3-phase electric, and you know,
she's a beast.
It'll rip up to 16 inches deep without even hesitating.
We should invite Jimmy DeResta right now. Jimmy, come and see this.
Said one bandsaw Jimmy DeResta doesn't have.
No, he does not have a progressive beveling ships. Was this called like a ship saw? What is really
I would call it a ship saw.
a ship saw, because a lot of the ships with the
there's a lot
curves
of
and
different
stuff,
ones.
you need that
There's certainly much
progressive
bigger
bevel.
ones.
Yeah.
And there's ones that tip in both directions.
Right.
This one doesn't do either one of those things. But,
Okay.
you know, it does, like I say, it does progressive bevel ripping, which is something different than most of them do.
Okay. Very cool. There's a giant one at Mystic Seaport Museum. If you've been there and you've been in that shipyard there, that one I think is like the size of your ladder over there, but
huge.
definitely necessary.
I'd love to be around sometime when it's operating, because I want to know how well it actually operates. I can tell you how well mine operates, but I can't really say. I think bandsaws are something that people over the years have had as much trouble with as any other piece of woodworking equipment.
Right.
Trying to keep it sharp, trying to make it track properly.
Right.
You know, all kinds of different things. You would think it would be very simple, but it's not necessarily. And on the other hand, it isn't that difficult. I have absolutely no tracking problems or anything with these saws. So, you know, and I've got a number of bandsaws. You know, everyone's, you know, got a size for something.
Right.
You know what I mean? I've got another one that's a little bit smaller, and another 12-inch one over here, and I've got a couple in another shop. So, you know, bandsaws are, you know, if there was no other piece of equipment in the entire shop, it would be a bandsaw. That's what I would have, a bandsaw.
And now you have like Bandsaw Island here. You were talking to me about how happy this made you to have your tools arranged
this is kind of interesting right here. You know, every time you move into a new shop, everything's different. You know, the doors are in different positions and everything is a little different. And you're trying to figure out, how can I actually use this shop and get something out of it without, you know, having to run around with every piece of wood to a different station to cross cut it over here and plane it over here and do this, you know. So I decided I would kind of cluster them up in the middle of the shop right here. And I kind of, you know, as I got going doing it, I wanted to make sure I could use it all without moving it all, you know. And basically, you can rip on the bandsaw right over top of the jointer that's right behind it. You can use the jointer without moving that. You can use the planer without moving that. And it's all diagonal in the shop. So things come in the door very easily. There's a station or a position that you can work on timbers and do different things over in this area.
Yep.
And this is basically the power station right here.
Right.
You know, and I've got a vacuum system right there that I can hook up individually to each piece of equipment. It rolls around the floor, so it kind of gets in the way a little bit. But at some point, maybe I'll have an overhead vacuum system that I can hook up to all of this stuff.
Ah,
so
that would be good.
Because
dust collection.
that's one of the biggest problems in a shop like this.
Yep.
Especially with a cement floor.
Yep.
Because although you can sweep it up,
it
dries everything out. So
yeah.
Everything is dust. You know, in the old shops that I used to work in, it was never that way.
Right.
You know, all the sawdust would get on the ground and it would be damp. So nobody ever cleaned it up. We just walked on it.
You wanted it damp.
We wanted it damp.
Why did you want it damp?
Well, it held the dust down and it kept the boat swelled up as you built it.
Right.
You know?
So building wooden boats, you want that wood to swell before you put it in the water. And what ends up happening when you launch a wooden boat and put it in the water for the first time is that water is absorbed by the planks. And so if you've already sort of let the wood absorb some of that moisture, then you're going to be ahead of yourself when you launch it, and you'll take on less water
it's just,
as the planks swell,
it's just
right?
like when you build anything, not everything is all perfectly ideal
Right.
material or anything else. So, if you had something a little on the green side you were building out of, you wouldn't want it to dry out really rapidly,
Right.
Or you were repairing a boat. Most all the sheds used to have dirt floors.
Dirt floors.
Now it's just, you don't see a dirt floor no
Right.
matter where you go. So.
But if you go into a lot of wooden boat shops where they're actively building a wooden boat, you will find leaves or sawdust or something that's wet and underneath where they're building that boat.
There's certainly, there's certainly shops that still have dirt floors and that kind of stuff going
Right.
on. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
There should be a lot more of it as far as I'm concerned. But
Bring back the dirt.
I've got the cement floor thing, which so I can roll things around. If I didn't like this, or I wanted to even adjust this, in a small way, it's very easy for me to do. I got a couple of wedges underneath them to make them stay stable, and I just
You can get a
pull few
forklift
wedges
over
and
there.
move things around, and
Cool. We love it.
It's cool.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. What else can we look at over here?
Well, let's see. Let's take a walk over this way.
Come this way.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the question section of the live. We'll answer them at the end for you.
Yeah.
Sure.
So another island of tools here.
Yeah, this is I was just playing around with this. I use these tools, all the time too. They're all, I don't need to have a gigantic planer all the time. This planer works fantastic, and I've got one right over here on a little carriage I'm actually going to give away. It's a 12-inch Parks planer I've had for a million years.
You can give it away right now?
I'm going to give it away to somebody, whoever can come and get
Right,
it.
if you want a Parks planer.
If you want a nice 12-inch Parks planer, which is actually a very
That's a
industrial
first.
little piece of equipment.
There you go.
There it is for somebody, and like I say, I replaced it with this one, which I like even better. And I got my tiny little bandsaw I've had almost my whole life right there. And so, doing smaller stuff, this is a kind of a little spot.
And you can tell that Lou is not sponsored by a tool company. So any tool company out there that wants to sponsor Lou should reach out in the DMs, and we'll connect you with Lou.
Yeah,
Right?
sure.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
All right. So behind us here is a cool thing, which your Patreon wall, and some of the tips from a shipwright sign and some of the stuff that you've been doing on that channel. You want to tell us a little bit? You have a Patreon account where people could support you in the boat building that you're doing, and even maybe make some contributions towards what you're hoping to get done with Orca in the future.
Well, that's exactly right. The patrons that you do see on my patron board, first off, I have to thank them in a huge way, because they've been really responsible for us being able to actually keep the doors open right here. This is actually you might call this a money spending business more than a money making business.
That sounds like boating.
I'm spending every penny I've got, on the building of Orca. And this wasn't necessarily for the building of Orca, but it was to support Tips from a Shipwright,
Right.
which is my YouTube page.
Exactly.
So,
So if you're not subscribing to the YouTube channel, go and do that. Tips from a Shipwright. I think we're live on Tips from a Shipwright too. Excellent. And you have the Patreon is linked there, and Patreon's a great way to support these guys when they're making videos, because you can decide how much you want to do. You can do $1 a video. I don't know what your levels are. I shouldn't speak to that, but it's a great way to get some support behind Lou and help you get the Orca thing going, and
it's a
keep the other stuff going.
it's a varying, people can send pretty much anything they want. And I think I think they had to get up to, like, I don't know what it was, $100 or something like that before we would write their name on a tag and put it on the Patreon board. But that happened actually quite quickly, and we actually owe
your name here. Come on and join the Patreon,
we
right?
actually owe a number of people to get their name up on that Patreon board.
Okay, so if you've donated and your name's not on there yet, it's coming.
It's coming. Once it goes up there, it stays up there.
And
so
once you're up,
I
you're
wouldn't
there
worry
for
about
good.
that too much.
So you can put your name on this one.
But,
Get it up there too.
yeah.
Help support.
I mean, we're always looking for new patrons, obviously.
Right.
We're looking for new sponsors. We're looking for new patrons.
Yep.
We're looking for new partners, people that might invest, I mean, I always thought that Narragansett Beer would be a great a partnership, because, Quint had the Narragansett beer can in his hand when he was drinking it.
Exactly.
So I just thought that they might be interested, and I think
I'm sure they're watching.
going to get in touch with them before it's over.
Reach out,
so,
Narragansett. We're here for you.
different things like that. So
Hi, neighbor.
over in this corner right here, I've
All right.
actually got the Transom framework for Orca going together. You know, I've been transferring the
This was your last video. You guys just put this on up
yeah,
the other day, right?
yeah, you know, and I'm sure that I could have come along a lot faster on building this transom, but that wasn't necessarily the idea. Was to just build the transom. It was to build the transom and get it on video.
Right.
So a lot of those things got held up a little bit, and you know, it's taken us a little time, but we're back at it. And you know, basically, I've got to you know, join the two pieces together in the corners, then make another half, so it's made in halves. Put some vertical framing in it, you know, and then connect the two pieces together, and then plank it. So basically, I'm only drawing half at a time. You know, and that's what I'm up to there. So.
And this is called lofting, really, right? Is that right?
Well, I think lofting is basically drawing full size, but also with the intention of correcting all the mistakes that are on the drawing board. You know, because of the scale. The scale causes all kinds of, you know, dimensional mistakes.
So it's when you take your drawing and you scale it up to a model that's on the floor, and you start to lay the frames of the boat out in that. That's right. And then that's what you're saying. You make those corrections and the bevels and the things
basically,
like that.
You know, it's really not very far away. Once I get this thing complete right here, which is really not going to take too long, then I'm going to start taking all the frame shapes or all the station shapes, you know, from the drawing board and blowing them up and putting them on the drawing board.
Okay.
And then what's going to happen is I'll start building all the sections. So, you know, the next thing I have to do is sit at the drawing board and complete the drawings that I've been working on for quite some time, actually. I've done them over and over and corrected them, and I've done different things. I don't do those things every day, nor does anybody on the drawing board, as far as I know, any longer. So, you know, that's kind of what I'm up to in there, and I enjoy it. So, but, and then, you know, we have to raise the money to purchase all the material to build the molds. Right. So that's what we're doing. We don't have the money up front to build this boat. You know, there's no question about that, but it's going to get built one way or the other. You know, whether it's my money or I don't know whose money it's going to be, but I'll tell you one thing. We're hoping it's your guys' money. That's true.
If you want to be involved with Orca, it sounds like there's opportunity. So
I think there is, you know, and I think it's, you know, as far as projects go, it's a worthwhile project. It is, I would tell you that it's probably the most well-known boat in the entire world, you know, and that's over and above Titanic or the Constitution or any other boat. It's just well-known around the world. It's always current. You know, the movie plays and plays and plays, and it's, you know, it's terror involved, and it's just about everything. It's an everything movie, and
I'll never swim again.
Yeah, that's so, you know.
Very cool. Hey, you want to come over here and check out some of these tools and stuff he has? He's got some great hand planes and some cool tools, and the way he's got.
You know, it's kind of funny. This is just really a little collection of tools just laying here in the corner, but they're mostly for parts and things, actually, this collection of tools right here. I don't, in my toolbox, the way I've worked my whole life, I had to move around a lot. So I didn't have like 10 number 5 Stanley planes. I have one, you know what I mean? So, you know, but I got spare parts, and I set these little block planes up right here just the other day. I'm going to go through them and interchange some parts and make up a couple that I can actually use because I just need one.
Well, a lot of the great videos that Lou's done on Tips from a Shipwright have actually been tool-specific videos that I think have been really interesting. One of them was about how to sharpen your chainsaw.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a really popular video from way back, and that information doesn't get old, so that's a great one.
That's our most
popular. So there's a lot of...
That's the Tips from a Shipwright's most popular video is sharpening chainsaw, yeah. And I actually want to do another one because I left about 50% of the information out of that one. Nobody really knows it, but you know what I mean? So I'm ready to do another one of those.
All right.
You know, I've got...
You got the white oak versus red oak video. That's another great one. If people have been talking about, you know, the difference between those two woods, then it's a great video for...
Well, it's kind of amazing what people, you know, the varying things that people want to see. You know, the other one that was really popular is tying a bowline.
Oh, yeah.
Bowline tying, you know what I mean? And I'm not a professional seaman or anything else, but I did learn to tie a bowline over the course of time. And, you know, it was fun teaching people how to do it. And I left 50% of that out easy.
Can you do it fast?
Oh yeah.
Can you do the like flying one?
Oh yeah.
You can?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll do that in another live.
Yeah.
Maybe at the end. You can find some rope. We might have to use an extension cord. Well, cool. Let's take a look at your, well, there are a couple boat parts over here that I thought were pretty cool too. And just to show the difference between, is this mahogany or teak?
You know something? That L. Francis Herreshoff catch that I've got is all the finish work on it and the hull and everything other than the framing is white oak. But all the rest of it is some sort of a wood that I can't really identify. So
Really?
I don't know what it is.
And this,
I wouldn't call it mahogany, but I don't think it's not ipe. That's too hard. I honestly, I don't know what it is. And it's got kind of an odd smell to it. But it's very good wood. It's really nice. This is the butterfly hatch right here that sits on top of the house, you know, and the hatches for it and the companionway hatches. And these things go down below. These are actually the same wood as this, but they have these in them. These are white oak right here just to create a little bit of contrast.
oh,
I
that's
guess,
cool.
down below. So
yeah.
I gotta, you know, I'm not going to strip these, but I'm going to sand them and give them a nice coat of varnish. And these have been stripped. I've got to do, you know, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 coats of varnish on those. Those are going to be tricky. I really don't even know how to do it, to tell you the truth, but I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn as I teach other people how to do it.
You know how to
how
varnish. You did a great varnish video for us.
How do you hold the piece up when you're done with it? What part sits on the, you know what I mean? How do you suspend it?
Yeah.
You know, I've tried hanging them from strings and doing things, but when you try to varnish it, it swings all around and moves.
No, it's tricky.
It's tricky. So, you know, it's something that, you know, that I'm going to spend a little bit of time at, but I do want to do it because I want it all sealed up so that when I touch them or any kind of like paint dust or anything gets on the surface, it won't get in there.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm basically out to get at least one good sealer coat on here.
I'll bring you some of our wood sealer over and you can throw that on
that's
there.
what we're going to use
Yeah.
for certain.
Good.
You know,
Get started with that. And then you did a great gleam video for us. That's one of our top videos on how to varnish. So,
and that's what we're going to be doing on the skiff again.
Yep.
You know,
More varnish on the skiff.
Of varnish on the skiff.
Right. Freshening it up, even though you already have 8 to 10 coats on there, probably.
I think there's maybe 6.
Oh, 6.
I don't think there's even that many.
Okay. So a couple more before you send it off.
It couldn't hurt, you know, no matter what. But the varnish and the paint held up so well.
Great.
That I'm impressed with that.
Good.
And I'm impressed with the fact that it sands so well, because that was a little bothering me. I was afraid that, is this paint job going to keep coming out worse and worse, or am I going to be able to make it come out better and better?
It was
That's
awesome.
the idea, is to make it come out better and better.
And you nailed it.
Thank you.
And that's just rolling and tipping, right?
That's just rolling and tipping. Yeah.
Yeah, it flattened out nice.
Yeah. I think the tricks in that are basically in the rolling, because if you apply too much paint, you're going to have trouble.
Yeah.
You can't wipe off a run with a brush.
No.
All it does is spread it around a little bit, and it just comes right back again.
Yeah, and the same's true for varnish, really.
Right. So you have to be able to figure out, how do you move the volume of varnish or paint along in front of you,
right?
You know, so that you don't get too much of it, you know.
Which is why you see these guys that have been doing it for so long. They're so fast at it because they have that nailed. They know that speed and how much to put on the roller, and you know how to drag it out and keep it flowing. Well, you know, it's there again. I enjoy teaching painting or anything else, but I don't know anything about painting. But I tell you what, I'm going to learn as you learn. So you're a faker. You totally know about painting. All right, now let's check out where you're drawing up these boat plans. Okay, sure. Come on into the office, the main office. This is a cool spot. See what you got going on over here. So this is the drawing board, as it were? Yeah, this is my little drawing room right here, and it's just made up of some sawhorses that I made, and this is just a solid core door that a friend of mine gave me to make a really nice drawing board. And I've got one of these little portable drawing boards on top of it with a mobile straight edge or a parallel that goes up and down. Yeah, it's got strings under the board. Very old methodology going on here, you know. Nobody does this kind of stuff anymore. Basically, what I'm doing is a drawing that's very similar to that right there. That is a set of drawings to a Novi lobster boat, but that was from 1905. It's a very, very narrow boat that was intended to be powered along probably by one of those old make-or-break engines. Okay. You know, maybe 10 horsepower or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
You know,
Little
Orca was
putt-putt.
a much later, you know, design, and got a lot of similarities. So that's what I'm doing. I'm drawing Orca 3-dimensional lines drawings
Yeah.
on my drawing board right here. And I've completed it a couple of times already, but I'm just going over it and over it. And I'm trying at the same time to figure out how I can coordinate with a videographer to get videos of how this is actually done,
Yeah.
which is a little bit tricky because it's going to make a special setup,
Yep.
you know, and then I'm going to actually try to teach how I went about doing this,
Yep.
because very few people understand this kind of stuff anymore.
And that's
this is
the
all
lofting
done
you're-
in computer these
Right,
days.
right.
You know.
And this is where you're drawing out the whole plan and all the stations and parts of the boat and how
Sure.
you then take it to that white board
Absolutely.
out there.
Yeah, what
Right.
I'm actually doing is generating what they would call the body plan, which is this plan right here, which is the sections of the boat, and then picking up the dimensions off the drawing board right here
Yep.
and transferring them to the loft floor.
So these boat
the
sections
full
then
size.
are each different parts of the boat that then get stacked and
Those are every 3 feet. Every
Okay.
3 feet.
oh yeah, and then
Yeah.
the view from
I'm
top
actually-
down.
I'm actually drawing mine every 6 feet. And then once I've got the shape all nailed down, then I can divide it in between the 6-foot sections and then get 3-foot sections in between. So it's, you know.
Sounds like a
it's
lot
just
of math.
It's something there's no math.
No math.
No math whatsoever.
Okay.
No, just picking up a dimension from here and putting it over there
And then
You-
scaling it up over there
and scaling it up
and then
with your
Getting it
scale
done over
rule
there.
and
wow.
getting it done
It's
over
pretty
there.
crazy. How many people who are watching today have built a boat? Because if you've built a boat, then you know.
I've built quite a few different kinds of boats. You know, it's not like I owned a big boat building company over the years or anything like that, but I worked for a lot of different companies.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you don't get isolated into one type of boat building, which a lot of shipwrights in this world do.
Right.
You know, they build one type of boat,
Mhm.
and that's it. And that's all they've ever done. And, you know, it's not to take anything away from them, but my experience has been different than that. I've been on all kinds of different boats, you know, built every kind of different sailboat and power boat and, you know, small ones, big ones, you know.
Some of the cool ones I know you've worked on are some of the 12-meter former America's Cup boats in Newport, right?
Well, I helped build American Eagle.
American
at
Eagle, the
Luda's in
red
Connecticut when I was 14 years old.
What? 14. Okay, that was a
We did
couple
have a
years
question
ago.
From the audience. What's the first boat you've ever built?
Oh, that's good.
Oh my goodness, the first boat that I ever built was a tiny dory that I built with my father when I was a young kid. That's the first one that I ever actually built.
And how old were you?
8, maybe, something like
Busy
that.
kids.
I was
Get busy.
No, there's an interruption. Let me
Oh,
just shut
somebody's
that.
calling
Let me shut
to,
that right off.
Commission you to build Orca for them. We did have somebody on there that was willing to trade you a couple pieces of wood for a knee for the jointer or the joiner. Which one? For I don't know.
Oh yeah, for the planer.
For the planer. Do you want the planer? It's the planer that he's trying to get rid of.
Well, if he's willing
Not
to
the
deliver,
joiner.
he's willing to. I'll have to talk to him directly, but we'll get together on it and
Reach
talk
out.
about it,
Shoot us
you
a
know.
DM. We'll connect
But,
you with Lou.
That's the only thing. I don't provide free delivery. I don't have my own delivery company, so you know you'll have to come and get it.
Yeah, exactly. You get some wood in
It was
exchange.
Thomas Scott.
Thomas Scott, reach out.
He said he has a small sawmill in Connecticut and wanted to know what kind of native wood will work for bottom planking on a flat skiff.
Native
Any
wood.
thoughts on that?
Well, native wood. There is yellow pines that grow, you know, in these areas. You know, I don't know how much of it. Being that he's a sawmill, he knows a lot of operators and sources. He might be able to come up with something like that. But you know, white pine has actually been used. It's more really the way you saw it more so than the species of wood. It should all be quarter sawn, really. You know what I mean, rather than slab sawn. So, you know, I mean, I've seen oak used many times. You know, oak. You know, pines. Different
White
kinds
oak,
of pines,
red
yeah.
oak, either
Firs,
oak, both oak.
Yeah.
White oak, only white.
Oh no.
Red.
You know, the skiffs that I used to build many years ago were all built out of what they called yellow bark, which is a species of red oak, actually. That you know, it's
But I watched that video. You said don't use red oak outside. Is that what you said?
I don't use red oak like in a fine yacht or anything like that.
Right.
But like in a skiff has got kind of an intended lifespan of maybe 20 years or something like that. And believe me, you're going to ruin it in some other way before it rots itself away. Believe me.
Fill it with clams and lobsters. And
Most all
fish guts.
skiffs built by anyone years ago in the Narragansett Bay area were built really of a red oak species, yellow
Right.
bark.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, and it's funny because all that Danish white oak that comes into the country,
Yep.
that they've built many boats on, all of which I'm not going to mention, is not really a white oak at all. It's a species of red oak. It's got continuous porosity in it, so it's funny. It's a stage name or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know how it works, but
All right.
that's when I did that demonstration on red and white oak.
Yep.
The red oak I was using was Danish white oak.
Oh, really?
Yes, and yet you see what it did in that video.
Yep.
So it's
You got to go watch that video.
yeah, so the only real white oak that I use comes from Ohio, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Massachusetts.
Okay.
You know.
So there's some local lumber for you. Excellent. Love having a sawmill guy on there checking it out.
Oh, I love the sawmill guys. I've learned so much
Right?
about lumber and so much about
Yeah.
so many things. From philosophy to unimaginable. From
We could have a
these
whole we could have a whole live stream on just you talking about wood. I know we could, and the chatoyance and all the other crazy words. What are there's the rings, the annular rings,
the
and the
medullary rays,
rays.
and the annual rings.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I actually had a nice conversation and interview with Duke Biozzi in Connecticut, the sawmill operator where I buy in New England Naval Timbers. That Tom right here that's with us today videoed, and that was an interview about his business as well as quite a few things about white oak.
Right.
And he had some nice timbers behind him that he had cut, and that's just a video that's just sitting there waiting for something to do with it.
Is that on the other channel that you had there for a little? You had a second channel called
Bristol Shipwrights.
Bristol Shipwrights.
That was not my channel, but I was on
with
it.
Ken. Yeah.
That
Okay.
was Ken. That's Ken's channel.
So there's some good Lou content on that channel as well.
Which is, we may do some more things on it because
Yep.
he's getting going again. He gets different things he has to do in life like everybody, and slowed down a touch. But
and he's got an Alden schooner or sloop.
he has an Alden 36-foot sloop that we just put a new keel
Sailboat.
in. He actually put the keel in. I helped him with it. I selected the lumber with him and cut the keel out, and he's installed a new wooden keel in it, put new floor timbers in it, all from the ground.
Yep.
Without climbing all over the boat. You know what I mean? Got enough planks off of it to be able to work on it. So then we're going to rebolt the ballast block back on it and get that going for the spring and or for the summer. And then he'll be back on that 43-foot schooner. And I'm sure I'll be doing some work with him over there.
Okay.
As well at the same time. So I actually have been busy. I just finished putting a stem in a 38-foot Friendship sloop in Warwick.
Okay.
Right. And that's a big Friendship sloop. And
Right.
it was a big stem.
Yeah.
And replacing a stem like that is quite
It's not a small
project.
job. Yeah.
28 plank ends on it.
Wow.
And now I'm putting a new mast step in it. So
Okay.
that's something I have to do on the weekends when I'm not here
And it's side
spending
hustle.
all my energy here. Then I have
Side
to go
hustle.
somewhere else and do it.
And the stem on the boat is the part that goes down sort of
Stem,
the
the
middle.
very forward piece. Yeah,
Yep.
the very forward piece. That breaks the water. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do have a question from the Tips from a Shipwright stream from John Keller. Hi Lou, could you talk about the plastic frames and where you get the plastic?
Oh, sure. Well, the plastic is actually, it's a high density polyethylene is what it is. Like polyethylene, I get some outside there, but, it's called, HDMW, high density molecular weight. And that's how you order it from a plastics company. But Modern Plastics or just about any plastics company that can supply that stuff, and they can rip it to size for you and do all kinds of different things, with it. And
And that was something that Lou did that where putting plastic frames in this Alden schooner, and you've done it in a couple other boats,
Well,
where instead of wooden frames, you're
Absolutely.
using this HDPE or
HDMW, high
MW.
density molecular weight.
Okay.
The first boat that I
Instead.
reframed with that was a 61-foot Trumpy polyyacht.
Okay.
And I pulled all the bottom planking off the bottom of the boat, pulled all the framing out of the bottom of it, most all the floor timbers, and we did everything to it from the ground, from the floor. We put tankage in it. We did all the electric work and the plumbing all upside down from standing on the floor without even boarding the boat. It was unbelievable. We had, what a ball. Then I put all new floor timbers in it and bent plastic framing.
Yep.
Right. And replanked it with tight seams, no caulking whatsoever. And the fellow who's the captain of it, the name of the boat was Sea Tabby. He calls me every once in a while, every couple of years from Florida, and says that he's got dust in his bilges, and what should he do? You know what I mean? So it's like, it's absolutely successful. That is a way to go.
That's cool.
I don't think it takes away from wooden boat work in the sense that, it's not necessarily the wood that I'm all psyched about. It's all the methods of fitting the pieces together and how you relate to the tools and all these kinds of things. That just really interests me. So the plastic does things easier in a lot of ways than you can do with wood, better. And, you're still manipulating it with your hands and using tools to cut it and drill it and fasten it and all these things. So it interests me, and I'm sure it always will,
Yeah, it's very cool.
It's very successful.
Even just if for conversation on the internet.
Blue Dolphin will be another example of how successful that really is, when that boat goes overboard.
All
no
right.
question about it.
Another question from Tipping Point Recovery. Hey Lou, who was your mentor or teacher when you were young? How did you learn everything? A long question.
Well, there's no answer to that question because I just started learning really on my own, getting forced to try to fix things that were wrong with my dad's fishing boats when I was a young kid. And then, there was a boat builder in my neighborhood that I was able to go, visit quite often, that built plywood boats even when I was a young kid. And I learned quite a bit from that. And then, going out and using them. And then it was just, every time a wood boat got anywhere near my neighborhood or my dock down the street, I went on board and took a look at it and tried to figure out which piece went first, and whatever it was. I just basically developed my own interest, and when I was a young kid, I just wasn't too enthused about school, so I went out with my father down to Ruta's in Connecticut, in Stamford, Connecticut, and helped build American Eagle. But I had done quite a bit of work previous to that, and then I think. When I was 17 years old, I was carpenter foreman at Wickford Cove Marina. Yep. And that's quite some time ago. Yeah. 17 years old. So
last year.
I just always been involved. And I went from boatyard to boatyard a little bit here and there, but I always had my own jobs going on all the time. And never really had any intentions of settling in at one place and being an employee.
Well, you've done that, right?
I tried.
You're like the traveling expert here, touching all the things. Cool.
Well, I like to travel too. I still like going out and doing jobs in different places. Like I say, like that job in Warwick, and I've got that job going on at home actually. And, but I look at other jobs. I like kind of surveying boats that need work done to them. Mm-hmm. I don't provide surveys, of all the electric work and the plumbing and, that's just not my business,
mm-hmm.
But usually a surveyor will find something wrong with a wooden boat that, he obviously can tell there's something wrong with it and needs some work on it, but he's not going to elaborate to the point, that I might,
right.
So basically then,
and then
I
can
do
the job
and look things over and give people good advice. And, I actually love to go out and do videos of older boats and the work that's going on and things like that,
Very cool. So, very cool.
If anybody's interested in anything like that, just get in touch with me and I'll
reach out. Send a message. All right, a couple other things I wanted to talk about over here were how you modeled up a couple of those boats that you did build with TotalBoat, just in miniature here. Both of them, this has obviously become a piece of the desk. But so this is a scale model of the work skiff, which was the first video that we did.
The scale model of the work skiff, the last flat bottom skiff that I built in the shop. And it was done from the videos with no drawings or anything. The guy that built that thing just built it, unbeknownst to me, and then sent it to me.
Oh, so you didn't build this. Somebody sent it to you. Okay. Oh, that's right. So there were a bunch of people that followed that video and built a full-size skiff, but this guy built a small one.
There still is right now. There's 3 or 4 different people building skiffs with those videos as their plans, basically.
That's great.
You know?
That's so cool.
He built this and gave it to me, and he also built a model of the small dory that I built.
Okay.
Which really came out slick.
But
cool. He sent that to me, and we did a video of it sitting in the water beside this one.
Right.
And beside my little floating dock that I did build over here.
Yep.
And then it had been built, oh man, at least 15 years ago. Right. And that is a scale model of the V-bottom skiff. This is how I generated it. I didn't even do drawings first. This is how I built it. I built it kind of like the old man's method of the way I built a flat bottom skiff. You know, I sprung some sides together and cross-planked it and put a V-bottom over it and all those kinds of things. But there were no plans when that was built, right? And then I took the drawings. I took some dimensions from this and did a little bit of drawing, and then obviously blew it up and built the boat full size.
Right.
This was built all with super glue. I can't tell you how many times I got my fingers and my thumbs stuck to this thing when I was building it. It was unbelievable. I hardly had any skin left on my fingers. It took me months because you had to hold the pieces for 20 minutes, and then you take your finger away and it either pull the plank off or your skin off or something.
You can wear gloves for that. And
I know. I was a kid at the time, but
fingered. No, and now we have some TotalBoat glue for you that will do that total bond.
I can't wait.
Yeah, we'll bring it over. Actually,
Okay.
I think I brought some.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. That's been really fun. Any other questions from people or anything else to chat about? I think we've sort of touched on what we were hoping to touch on, and we're going to do some videos with Lou as he varnishes a bunch of these parts and does some work on the boat that he's got in his yard that you were talking about. And we're here to help Lou with whatever he wants to do. So keep watching on the TotalBoat channel. There's a lot of great videos there. And he's getting out his hat, getting out the TotalBoat hat. And we've been working together for a long time. So
I hope to be able to stay that way.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
You guys have certainly got something for me. Have helped me out in a big, big way. And, I'm always hoping to be a help to somebody. So
we love working with you. Our customers have been asking for you, Lou.
Right.
Our phones have been
I think
ringing.
that's great.
Is Lou okay? Is Lou alive? And we wanted to do this today to tell you, yes, he's alive. He's well. He's been busy. Life has come between him and videos, and that happens to all of us. So it's been a busy couple months for you, but you're doing well, and we wanted to reach out and let everybody know how you're doing, and also how to support Lou. And that's really important for Lou and his channel, and for getting the shop sort of up and running here. So please reach out, on the TotalBoat DMs, and we'll put you in touch with Lou, or go and join his Patreon.
Yeah, if anybody is interested in speaking to me directly, I would love that. And obviously, like I had said before, I'm still interested in sponsorship, partnership, any kind of donations. We're looking for all the parts to the boat still.
Is this why you got this hat out, so you go like this?
I got this hat
You're gonna shake the hat
for a certain purpose. I get this hat out just to say to you guys that, if you guys want your work and paint jobs and different things to come out looking like mine do, use what I use. TotalBoat.
Wow. No, you're the best. And if you want to buy TotalBoat, you can do so and help Lou out by doing your shopping at totalboat.com/tips from a shipwright. Your order will ship for free. You will get a discount on your order, and Lou will get a little bit of a commission from us as a thank you for sending you, his audience, to us to get your stuff. And we ship fast and free from totalboat.com. So we're there to support Lou and to help you guys out. So
Well, maybe is it true that you guys are going to be retailing through Lowe's?
We do.
Lowe's?
Yeah.
So you guys will have what, lumber, a retail outlet all around the country?
Well, we
Or is
are
it only the East Coast, Lowe's?
so TotalBoat.com. I'm sorry, TotalBoat marine products, bottom paint, topside paint, the paint you're talking about up there, wet edge. You can buy that on Lowe's.com. Anywhere, obviously. But I think right now we are in a test period with Lowe's. So you can go into, I think there's 10 or 15 stores scattered around the country. There's some in Florida. I know there's some in Michigan. I think there's one in Pennsylvania, the Carolinas. Go into your Lowe's, whether or not they have TotalBoat, and ask for it. Because right now there's not a lot of marine products. And I think Lowe's recognized that people want to go to Lowe's and get brushes and rollers and bottom paint. And there's boats all over the place. You don't have to be near the ocean. So, the Great Lakes, we've got products for everybody. So, thank you for mentioning that. Yes, Lowe's.com, and a couple Lowe's stores, and definitely go ask, because we're excited about that. So that's been a big opportunity for us.
I'm excited about that too. Who knows? Maybe a picture of me might show up at Lowe's someday or something.
A bobblehead, a Lou bobblehead, maybe like one of the Lou, like you can stand inside here and have your face with the beard and the hat and the stuff. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
It's been
And
fun
I'm
for
sure
me.
that your people were really happy to see you and hear from you. And I know that you just put a video up on the tips channel, and I know you're going to probably have another one coming out there soon. And we're going to keep tabs on Lou through the TotalBoat channels, on our Instagram and on our YouTube page. So keep an eye out there, and we got some plans.
I think our next post actually is going to be bending the garbage planks onto Coronet, the schooner Coronet, a number of years ago, 4-inch thick white oak garbage planks.
And you steamed those in place, right?
In place in a plastic bag.
Very cool.
So that's kind of just an older thing that we've done that I've always, we've always just wanted to put it up but never got around to it. And there was really no reason why not. But
that's a very cool boat too. That boat circumnavigated the world. It was a schooner from the 1900s, and 1900s, maybe older.
I'm not that familiar with the history of it.
It's an old schooner, and it was in Newport, and you worked on it down there for a little bit.
I only worked on it a small amount. I went down to teach the crew how to plank the heavy planking on the bottom of it, because the top side was going to be all double planked, and I think they got a lot of information about that from me. But basically, it was to teach the crew how to do all that bent planking on the bottom, which is very, very, it's just a trade that I've got onto more so from studying it than actually doing it, but then adding all the things that I like to add to everything, the methodology, and I just made it as simple as pie, and it was kind of a fun thing. But once they got on to how to do it, then I was pretty much gone.
Yeah. Okay.
Closing words from Paul Jackman. Does Lou want to come play hockey?
Do you play hockey?
I can play hockey.
Maybe.
As a matter of fact.
Oh, all right. He's coming. We'll bring him. We got a hockey game for you.
Yeah, I can.
Referee.
I didn't do a lot of ice skating in my life, but I did a lot of rollerblading.
Oh, it'll translate, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's not important that you're good.
I broke every bone in my body on rollerblades, so.
Oh, no. No, we got to keep Lou whole, so maybe you'd just be a spectator. But yes, Paul. Hockey with Lou. Awesome. Maker hockey game. Well, thanks. Super fun.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's good to get you out there.
It's a pleasure.
Good. And, thanks. We love you.
I love you too.
You're the best. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
God
bless.
Catch
him on the Tips from a Shipwright channel and on TotalBoat. Thanks a lot.
God bless.